Okay. Remember to press record. Hayden, what's your question?
What is the meeting ID?
For this meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
Oh wait, Miss Honig.
What?
I just tried to like exit out and it worked. It's like FaceTime.
Okay, hold on, Hayden, and I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'm looking at I'm split screening you. That's another option. If you know how to split screen on your device where you can have one thing on one half of the page and the other another thing on the other half, do that. Hayden, to answer your question.
How do you do that?
The meeting ID, Hayden, it's a like 10-digit number. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, I'm confused now.
Okay, Savannah, stop, hold tight for a minute. I'm answering a question for Hayden, and then I'll be right back to you, okay? All right,
All right.
496
359
359 6260.
Wait.
359.
We can't hear it.
Okay, read.
You're breaking up.
Okay, I'm sorry. 496 359
495.
No, hold on. All right, so I'm going to go to Kahoot it.
I put.
Hey, James.
No. It's right here. Okay.
Right, so once you have opened either a new tab, guys, I need you to mute your devices unless you're going to talk to me, okay? There's lots of background noise. Open up a new tab on a separate device. Go to Kahoot it, right? www.kahoot.it, Kahoot, just like we would in class.
So what are we doing exactly?
You're going to open a new screen or a new tab and to Kahoot.
In a different
like a different tab at the top of your screen.
Oh, okay.
About the Zoom. If you can still hear her.
Oh, not Kahoot.
Go right here. Nope. And then type in Kahoot.
Right.
So we go to. Okay, I got it.
I put the name at the top. You're gonna.
Wait, I'm not ready.
I'm not neither.
It's all right. Be patient. This is new technology for all of us.
We're breaking up.
Miss Honig, you're breaking up so bad.
I am. All right. My internet may be bad where I'm sitting outside. So hold on.
Hang on.
Well, she'll type the password, I think.
Savannah, who's Hammer?
Me.
Who's me?
Hearing.
Okay, I need to enter in a pin.
Least trusted. Those like you are
I'm supposed to go
built on site.
I don't know how.
I'm going to bed.
yourself in danger, I want you to squeeze this pigment for 3 seconds. The tracking device, but only if you activate it. And it only goes to me. Okay? Mom. I both know how dangerous.
What's your time?
It.
I'm a little tour through my house. I'm going downstairs. Hopefully my internet will be better.
I found my dad's glasses.
Annalie.
I found my dad.
Yeah. We'll get more people
See
in.
yours. Is that yours?
No.
I'm trying to find.
God, I can't see.
We'll take the glasses off. You don't need them, right?
Okay, so we're doing Kahoot, but I can't find her thing.
It says choose your account type.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, Alea's in. Elijah's in.
Yes. Time.
This is
We
it.
need you to change, okay?
It says choose your account type.
Bathroom and station, someone's running water.
We need to go on Kahoot.
Kahoot it. It's Kahoot it.
Okay, so
Do we press?
you
Okay? Just try.
and then she gotta give you a PIN number.
Ooh, good. Alexis got in.
It says choose your type, like where, like choose your account type.
Did you go to Kahoot or Kahoot.it?
Kahoot, what?
Kahoot period it. IT.
Yeah, I did that.
I don't
You
know.
know what I'm doing.
I'll go call someone and I'll come back.
Okay.
What's the PIN number, Miss Honig?
It's on the screen. 754-9821. Wait, I had a whole bunch of players and now I don't.
Hold on, we're trying.
It's okay. The other teacher said the first time was there's more back. Okay.
What?
So wait. So we need to sign up with an account before we
No,
put.
you shouldn't need to. You should just be able to go to Kahoot.it and it's for a PIN number. The PIN number gets you our game.
Miss Honig, I can't get on Kahoot.
Yeah, Kahoot.it.
Miss Honig,
Yes.
can you see my username? Because whenever I was on there, I couldn't see it.
I see Savannah.
There you go.
I-17.
Honey, you have.
Miss Honig, I can't get on
Okay, I
Kahoot.
got it. Wait, what's the pin again?
Okay.
The game pin?
PIN is on the screen. 754-9821. Hayden.
754 what?
754-9821.
981. Okay.
I got people coming and going all over the place. There, Aaliyah, you're in. I see you.
Okay.
I can't get in.
Okay, so Hayden, what are you seeing?
Okay, cool.
I just see your screen. That's all I see.
Can you open a new tab?
How do you do that?
Are you on an iPad?
No, I'm on an iPhone 11.
Can you go to where you go to an internet search?
Yeah, probably. But y'all might cut off.
Savannah said she tried it and it didn't.
All right.
Oh, good. Ilandra's in. Number 20. That's Elijah. You change your name?
Do we mute it? Put it when we're
What is that?
Mute.
Okay, hold on.
What is that?
Okay, Miss Honig.
Yes.
So what else do I do after I get to the search?
Okay. Search Kahoot.
K A.
Kahoot.it.
Dot. Okay. Oh.
Jasmine, are you gonna try?
H.
Oh, Da Vinci, you're here. Hey, Da Vinci.
Hi. Have we already started the game?
Nope. We're being
All right.
very, very patient for friends who are trying to finagle technology.
Miss Honig.
Yes.
After the T dot.
Yes.
What's my favorite?
IT.
IT. I'm hungry. How long else is it?
But you're gonna have to learn to force feed this turtle. You're gonna have to pry open its mouth to feed it.
And what do I sign into?
You should, does it say a game pin?
Yes.
Okay, let me tell you the numbers. 754
754
98
98.
21.
Okay, now enter.
Okay, so
D-E-N.
we're going to start in just a couple of seconds. It looks like there's like 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 people in.
Miss Honig, do you see me?
What am I looking for?
It's Hayden's
What
name right
name did you
there.
put in?
It's
Hayden.
Hayden's name.
Hayden, I see you.
All right.
Hammer. Who's Hammer?
Erin.
Kieran. Okay. All right, here we go. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, we're now at 13 players. Good. I'm not sure that's everyone, but it's everyone who's spoken up that's needed help. So, Hayden, you can switch back to the Kahoot app and just go back and forth. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to start. Story elements review. I didn't know which one I picked. All right.
Oh no.
The element in the text that is developed through dialogue, action, and thinking is the what?
Oh.
The element in the text that is developed through dialogue, action, and thinking is the.
Maybe we gotta go back to her. Go back to her. See if maybe she has it on her board. There you go.
Lightning small. This is for
Look.
Ooh, good. All right, so we had 5 that knew that a character is the story element that develops or grows or changes through what they say, that's the dialogue, what they do, and what they're thinking.
Miss Honig.
Yes.
Out.
You said my name.
Now.
Kicked out.
Yeehaw, boy.
All right, here we go.
Hold on, wait.
Ooh, Nia, nice job. All right, I'm going to go to the next question. A story taking place at the zoo on a sunny afternoon describes the what?
Holy crap. Mally, come here.
All right, we're getting close. I think everyone's answered, maybe.
We're doing a game. They can't see me. Please understand.
Karen,
Good, it's the setting.
Yes, thank you. Finally.
come here.
Okay.
Mother.
Hey, Miss Honig.
Yes.
I got a pool today.
You got a pool?
Yeah, like a week ago.
Oh my goodness. You have to do your work lounging in the pool then, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh, Alea took the lead. Savannah's not
Mally,
disconnected
don't
behind.
Don't jump, don't jump.
All right, here's the next question. Something exits when a character has a struggle or the plot requires a decision to be made. Exists, I'm sorry. Something exists when a character has a struggle or the plot requires a decision to be made.
Karen.
What?
Who
You're
just
back, Elijah. Did you get back on?
It was my dog.
Did you lose it from Kahoot? Just log back into Kahoot. It's okay.
God.
All right. I'm gonna do another one. You can. Ooh. So both problem and conflict are right. Those are words that are synonyms when we're talking about story elements. I can make one. I don't want you to make all right, good. So problem and conflict, those are both synonyms for the story element. Good job, Alea. A change of events that answers the problem is called a change of events that answers the problem is called a something. Got 10 answers. Y'all still thinking? Elijah, did you get back in? Are you just listening to us now?
Is it not working?
Good. So solution and resolution resolution. Again, synonyms, it means something was solved. Right? Good. Ooh, Annalie, you rose up a little bit. All right, here we go. Not quite halfway through. Movement through time through the text is called what?
Events.
Events.
Don't speak it to
Karen,
Miss
you
Honig.
just told an answer.
Miss Honig.
Come on.
Miss Honig.
Who said my name?
Me. Aaliyah. That it's not saying like it's not giving me answer choices.
Go look on Kahoot and your answer choices are there. You have to go back and forth. Can you see my screen where the answer choices are?
Yeah.
It says it only says shapes.
Okay, so you have to look on the screen, on the Zoom screen for the answer choices and then select on the other screen. You have to switch back and forth, Aaliyah. Good. Events. Events are what change and move through time.
Thanks, Karen.
Whatever.
Good. So look on the Zoom screen, Aaliyah, for the next question. The rising and falling action that builds tension in a text is called the what? So red triangle is problem, blue diamond is plot, yellow circle is character, and green square is setting.
What was the question again?
The rising and falling action that builds tension in a text is called the...
Oh. How do I go back? You have to click on Kahoot.
Ooh, Da Vinci, you changed your background screen. Nice.
Oh, you do that. How do you do that?
All right, so plot is where you see the rising and falling action. That story mountain that we used to talk about, that's the plot, how it moves throughout the story.
Hey, Miss Honig.
Yes, Karen.
You need to talk to Jada's mom about the Zoom. She doesn't know how to.
About what?
The Zoom.
You
Okay.
just download the app.
Thank you.
Yeah, but she don't know how.
Okay. Uh-oh. Okay, thank you. All right, the heart of the story that teaches a lesson is called what? What you're supposed to, the heart of the story that teaches a lesson is called something.
I know. What up? Dang it,
Going
stop.
back and forth. Good. It's the theme. It's the lesson that you're supposed to learn. Yes, very good. Leia, you're just like killing it. Alexis, you're moving on up though. And Annalie too.
Oh,
All right. The wolf chasing the pigs and blowing down their house is an example of what?
I'm gonna go get some. I'm dead.
I'm gonna take the cute I'll see. Come on, Mal. We're going. Come on, you go in.
All right. So really any of the three, they describe the event, they also describe the conflict, and it describes the plot, because those things are kind of all interwoven, right? So the wolf chasing the pigs and blowing down their house is an example of, it could be events, it could be the conflict in the story, and it could be the plot of the story. All right.
I was doing just some research.
Don't judge a book by its cover is an example of a what?
No!
Uh-oh, somebody must have hit the wrong button. Can't tell if everyone's answered or not. Go. Nice. Good job. So yes, that is the theme, or a lesson, a concise way to explain a lesson of a story. What does don't judge a book by its cover mean? Who can tell me what it means?
Ooh, I know.
Okay, tell me, Savannah.
It means don't think about how somebody is just by how they look.
Yeah, right. Don't make a judgment based on appearances. You have to get to know the person.
Can I give an example?
All right. Good job. Oop, Jacqueline moved up a little bit. All right, 2 more questions. Events in the story can affect the blank, emotions, and mood. Events in the story can affect the blank, emotions, and mood. Good. The characters, emotions,
Yay.
and mood. Really, characters are the only things that have emotions or moods, right? Good job.
I'm behind a Minji.
Right. Annalie, you're catching up on Alea. Just a little bit more. Here we go. Text narrated in first, second, or third person shows what? Text narrated in first, second, or third person shows.
I have to call you back right fast. I have to do something. Hey. Hey Jada, I have to call you back. My parents made me dig a. My parents are making me dig a hole right fast. I'll call you back after, okay? Bye.
All right, I can't tell if everyone's, there we go. Good, point of view, yes. Is someone inside the story telling, or is a narrator or someone outside the story telling what's happening? Ooh, Jasmine, you jumped way up there. Alexis too, man. All right, this is it. A character's attitude and the mood is shown through what?
I said
All right, I think that's everyone answering, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. I think I got 15 answers. Nice, very good, guys.
I beat Da Vinci.
You good?
No, you did. Yeah, I did
Hey,
Dang it. Check it out. You behind me, Da Vinci. I just need 100 more points.
Alea.
Who's
there we
first?
go. Nicely done, guys.
Miss
Jasmine,
Honig.
number 4 and 5, honorable mention. Good job. All right, we're gonna keep moving on, and I'm going to show you a splat.
What?
A what?
A splat?
Miss Honig, are we done playing the game?
Leave it up. We might do another Kahoot, but I want to do this splat first. So just leave it on just come back to Zoom for me.
All right.
Go back to Zoom.
All right.
I'm good at
James.
What?
All right.
No.
All right. So first, how many blue dots do you see?
Wait, where?
Where
Yeah,
are we at?
Yeah, where?
Can you guys see on Zoom?
I see 0.
Zoom.
I'm sharing my screen on Zoom.
I see 0.
I see nothing.
See
Where's my body?
I see Nia, Banana, Alea, and Alexis.
That's what I see.
Okay, hold on. Let's try. Oh, there you are.
Ah!
I'm gonna try screen sharing again. Just a second.
I
Okay.
see you need.
All right. Can you see now?
Yeah.
All right, how many blue dots do you see?
14.
Okay. So I just splatted. I splatted the screen. Now, the two different colors mean that there are they're covering a different amount of dots. Okay, so we still have the 14 total dots there somewhere.
There's probably
So how many dots could be under the green splat?
4.
And how many could be under the yellow splat?
5.
5. Yeah, 5.
So if we had 5, we have 5 showing, and so that would mean there might be 4 under the green and 5 under the yellow. Is there any other combinations that might be possible?
You could switch up.
Is there any other combinations?
3 and 6. Ah!
An hour when I text you.
Right. So somebody said 4 plus 5 plus 5. What else?
3 plus 6 plus
Okay,
5
so you have 3 plus 6.
plus
Does that equal 14? 10, 11. Yeah. All right. So let's see. Let's see who's right or what's possible. So there's 5 under the green, 4 under the yellow, and that gets us to 14. All right, we're gonna do one more really quickly. How many dots
We're
are
gonna
there?
do a Kahoot after this. I didn't say anything.
You guys see the dots?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. How many do we have?
10.
Okay. So there's 10, and now there's splats on the screen. So what combinations of green and yellow could explain what we're seeing?
3 and 3.
3 under green and 3 under yellow?
No. 3 under green and 7. And 4 under the yellow.
3 under the green, 4 under the yellow, and the 3 that are showing. Okay. What else? What other equations could explain this?
5 plus 2. 10 minus 3. And
Hold on, where's my? I literally lost my writing tool. I don't know what happened to it.
Who did that?
I think that was Hayden.
Bad Hayden. Bad Hayden.
Man.
So we got, you were right. 3 and 4 plus the 3 portion. We got
I got it.
10. Good.
Who is doing that?
All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. Good. Whew, now I can see you all again. All right, so I like to do splats. It's a good way for you guys to think about numbers and kind of creating those equations, and then we're going to work on getting them even harder and harder. I want to show you
Jake in the car?
talk about some geometry and vocabulary. Da Vinci was here last time.
Bye.
Hold on.
Who is that?
Share
Who is
that.
that?
And I'm gonna share this.
Are we gonna get to read holes?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Well,
Okay.
I couldn't hear last time, so like, what really happened during the polls?
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
All right, so James and Da Vinci were here when we talked about the geometry. We talked about points, lines, line segments, and rays. Is that everything, Da Vinci and James? And that video is on YouTube. You can watch that for the vocabulary that we started with last time.
Where's James at?
All right, so I want to talk about a plane. So vocabulary and geometry is a little bit different than maybe what you're used to and how we use those words in everyday life. And it's important to understand the math definition of these words, because when you get into higher level geometry, it absolutely makes a difference, right? We're just getting into an introduction here. But a plane is something, it's a flat surface that extends without end in all directions. So kind of something, an easy thing to think of is like the side, a flat piece of paper, or the side of a rectangular shape. But it can be any flat surface, and in geometry, it extends forever. Okay? So that's something that's really important to understand. These arrows on these lines, that's an indication that it's going on forever. That arrow in geometry means the line is continuing on forever. All right? Parallel lines are lines that never come together. They never intersect, or they never cross. Okay? So if you were going to name these lines, you would say line AB. Those are the two letters on either end of this line. And line CD are parallel lines, right? They're never going to come together or cross each other.
Okay, Karen. We don't like your music. Yeah, boy.
This symbol here in the middle is, that is the symbol for parallel lines. Okay? Intersecting lines are lines that cross. Okay? Right? An intersection of a road is when two roads cross each other. Well, an intersection of a line are when two lines cross each other. Perpendicular lines are a very specific kind of intersection where you form a 90-degree angle. Hayden, what did you say?
Now I can see your face.
Oh, good. So perpendicular lines cross at exactly a 90-degree angle.
It looks like.
All right, so it says two lines that intersect and form right angles, and we know those are 90-degree angles. All right. Okay. So we're going to be, next time we will do a Kahoot review of geometry vocabulary. I'll tell you what, we've been on for a little bit. We can do another quick Kahoot. I don't know how quick it'll be. And then read whole.
Hayden, what?
It'll be
I
math.
cut off my Kahoot.
I told you not to.
I did too.
I did too.
I didn't.
I didn't.
Okay.
I
So
did it on
if y'all can get back on and be more quick, and it'll be a math Kahoot.
They said,
Do we have to do it?
I want you to stay engaged, but I'm not gonna force you to. It's a good way to review.
I have to go dig a hole.
It's Honig. Are we? Is it the same code?
What do you
No,
got?
it'll be different.
Is it gonna be the same code?
It'll be different.
So it's a different number?
Yes.
Okay. Wait.
Ah!
No
My
more.
screen share has gone berserk.
Yeah, I couldn't see.
Sorry.
What's our page?
Hang tight.
Oh, there you are, Karen. Why?
I'm just trying to look.
Da Vinci. Look at your forehead.
No.
Yeah. Why is your forehead like that?
What are you picking on, bro?
It's your forehead.
Oh my God.
What is that?
That's why.
That never happened. Your forehead's like a ball. Football. Whose fingers are those?
Miss Honig.
This is your background.
What?
I'm on Grandpa's computer so I can use it to play Kahoot because it was hard playing Kahoot. We're going back and forth.
This is angles.
Neo.
Angles.
bam, bam.
Why is your
bam,
screen
bam.
going? Fine, I'll make my
It's
screen.
writing on my screen.
What?
All right. Can y'all see?
I didn't know.
See what?
You could see
See
that.
what?
What screen?
I don't see that. I don't see angles.
Okay.
Okay,
Hold on.
there. I'm already two. Okay, wait. Let me. Oh no! I'm in trouble. I got it.
There we go. Savannah and Alea are in.
Hey, I need
I'm in.
to go
Who's
back.
the boss?
They're still in my screen.
Me. It's me. That's me. The boss.
Karen, is that you being silly?
The boss.
Okay.
Good. All right, we're getting quicker at this. Good, Elijah, you're in.
My thing.
Who's the boss?
Me.
Oh.
Jacqueline, is it you?
What you know?
Wait.
Huh?
All right, if you are.
Yep.
All right. Da Vinci, I don't see you. Hayden, are you still working on getting in?
No. I'm trying to clean up a mess.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to start soon unless I hear somebody's trying to join us.
Well, I'm already in, so I'm good.
Yep, I see you, Nia.
Okay.
James, are you joining us?
It keeps saying I don't recognize this username.
Did you put in the PIN number?
Anna Lee.
No.
Hi, Anna Lee.
Is that James? James just got in.
Hey, Leah. Hi. Oh,
Miss Honig,
What?
there's just a huge red ant in my bed.
Oh, that's not good.
Daniel, kill it.
All
Kill
right.
it with your hand. Kill it with your
Da
hand.
Vinci, do you need the PIN number? Because we're going to start.
Hold up.
What was that? My brother is yelling.
Because I'm not here.
Me.
All right, we're starting with 11 people.
Starting already?
Come on now. Oh, there's start.
Problems.
All right, Liz has 12 cars. She gave her sister 3 cars. What fraction of the set did Liz give her sister?
Oh. I guess.
I don't know.
Oh, my Lord.
Can you Google these?
Still waiting on one person to answer.
Wow.
It's only 11 people in.
Yeah.
Nice. How long is it gonna take?
Hey.
Hey. So the fraction that it's talking about here in the first problem, Liz had 12 cars. She gave her sister 3 cars, right? So we could say that that's 3 out of the 12 cars, right? 3 12s. But our answer choices meant we needed to find an equivalent fraction, right? So how many groups of 3 are in 12? Well, there's 4 groups of 3. So an equivalent fraction would be 1/4 is the same as 3/12. Good. So somebody, Annalie, got that right. Good job. All right. Marcos cut a pie into 8 equal pieces. He ate 6 pieces. What fraction of the pie is left?
I don't get this.
Hold up.
No.
Trying to be smart about this, but it's hard.
I know. I promise your brain won't ooze out your ears, though. I can see Annalie with a piece of paper.
I know I have a piece of paper, but I don't know where it went.
No.
Good, good, good. So if you just decompose this fraction the way it says, there were 8 pieces in the pie and Marcos ate 6 of them. So how many pieces were left?
1/4.
A pie with 8 pieces and colored in 6 of them. How many pieces would be left?
1/4.
1/4.
Well, there'd be 2 8s left, 2 1/8 pieces left, but you can reduce that and make that into an equivalent fraction of 1/4. 2 will go into 8 4 times.
Miss,
Yes, Savannah.
be right back. I have to go get something.
Okay. All right. Oh, James moved right on up there.
It's your boy, Jay.
All right, here we go. Surrey has completed 3/5 of the book he is reading. Which fraction is equivalent to 3/5?
I'm a guess. Wait,
I don't know.
I'm gonna guess.
I didn't even click one yet.
I'm not guessing no more.
I'm guessing it's 8/30. No.
Riley. Can you shut my door?
We need 2 more people.
Yep, I can't tell. I'm not sure if Savannah's going to answer, but we for sure need 1 more person.
10 or 11.
I've already answered.
Okay.
So did I.
Me too. Even though I know I got it wrong.
All right, so 2 people. So remember, when you find an equivalent fraction, you're either going to multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number or divide the numerator and denominator by the same number.
I get that right.
So for 3/5, right, to get, let's do the 6/15. So most people chose the blue. You can multiply the 3 by 2 and you would get the 6 in 6/15. But 5 times 2 would be what?
10.
10. So 6/10 would be an equivalent fraction to 3/5. Here, what number did they multiply the top and the bottom to get the equivalent fraction 18/30? 3 times what is 18?
20. 3 times 6.
3 times 6 is 18, and 5 times 6 is 30. So the equivalent fraction we got by multiplying the 3 by 6, 3 times 6, and 5 times 6 to get 18/30. Ooh, Savannah, you moved on up with Annalie close behind.
Oh, Lord.
Right. Pi shapes 3 out of 7 sections on a model. Which fraction is not equivalent to Chi's shaded area?
I'm not sure.
Who's singing?
It sounds like Hayden.
Good.
Probably.
Good. So, yes, 3/7. You cannot multiply 3 and multiply 7 by some number and get to 13/14. Everything else could be an equivalent fraction, right? 3 times nothing is 13, actually, right? You can't multiply anything by 3.
I'm in 5th place.
13. Annalie, you took the lead.
Did I?
Ain't a banana.
Yeah.
All right, Emily made a cake. She cut it into 12 pieces. Her friends ate 9 slices. How much did they eat?
Wait, I'm confused now.
All right, Emily made a cake. She cut it into 12 pieces. Her friends ate 9 slices. So how much did they eat?
I know.
Who said that?
Mr. Honig wants to join our Kahoot game.
Oh.
All right, I think I might have one more person still to answer.
Yeah, you have one more.
Nicely done. Yes, so they ate 9/12 of the cake and they needed to use the reducer to find an equivalent fraction, right? So 9 will go into, let's see. 9 divided by 3 is 3 and 12 divided by 3 is 4. Right? We divide the numerator and denominator each by the same number, and we get the equivalent fraction 3/4. Ooh, Aaliyah moved on up. So did Jasmine and Alea.
Okay, wait.
Abe has a dozen eggs. He uses 10 eggs for a cake. What fraction of the eggs did Abe use?
No. You have to answer.
All right. So first you have to know that a dozen means 12, right? So if you look at just the numbers that we have, they use 10/12. Abe used 10/12 of the eggs. And to get an equivalent fraction to reduce that, right, you can divide 10 divided by 2 is 5. And 12 divided by 2 is what? 6. And so we get the fraction 5/6. Ooh, Jasmine moved up a little bit. Marsha has 10 muffins. She and her 3 friends each ate one. What fraction of the muffins are left? Marsha has 10 muffins. She and her friend ate one. That's key. What fraction of the muffins are left?
The next one is the last one.
All right. Yes. 3/5. So how many people ate muffins if Marsha and 3 friends ate muffins?
3/5.
How many total people ate muffins?
Oh,
4. Marsha and 3 friends. So 4 people total ate muffins, right? So what would be left over of the 10 muffins if 4 people ate a muffin?
You're an elephant, man.
6/10 of the muffins would have been left, right? If each muffin was 1/10 of the total, 4/10 were gone, so 6/10 would have been left. And if you divide 6 divided by 2 and 10 divided by 2, you would have gotten 3/5. That was a tricky question. Ooh, Aaliyah moved on up. And this is it. Tim used 6/8 cup of milk in his pancake batter. Which fraction is equivalent to 6/8?
Wow, I didn't get one.
I don't know.
You're not a good child.
Hey, Tony, can I say my equation, like how I'm doing it?
Right now, out loud?
Well, like whenever, like it's.
Yes, when we're done.
I have my.
All about pencil duos.
What?
No!
Good. Yes. So you divide 6 by 2. You're a photo bomber.
Like,
And 8 divided by 2 is 3/4. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 3/4 is the equivalent fraction.
why did I pick blue?
We got third. Oh, Alea moved right on up there. Savannah's in second, and
Hey. And a banana.
Annalie.
It's me. It's me.
It's
I would dominate at fractions.
all right.
Equivalent.
All right. So, yeah, maybe Mr. Honig can join us next time and see if y'all can beat Mr. Honig in Kahoot.
Oh, no, you're lying.
Hello. All right. Leave us. Bye.
Bye.
All right. We're going to stop sharing.
Are we gonna exit out of Kahoot?
Questions about homework.
Do we exit out of Kahoot?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Miss Honig.
Yes. I'm trying to stop. There we go.
And I had sent out homework in Friday. If it came through to you or not.
It did, yes. And I tried to answer you in a couple of ways, but yes, ma'am, it did.
Okay. My phone, I had did it on my phone and it kind of got stuck on some stuff and I didn't know if it came through. I wasn't trying to let it get behind on anything.
Nope, it looks good. And I'll just reach out if there's anything that I happen to be missing. But right now it looks good.
Okay.
All right. Does anybody hold tight. Does anybody have questions about homework or you're feeling pretty good?
Yes.
I'm good.
Yes, you're good, or yes, you have homework?
Yes.
All right. So our read aloud from Holes is from last time is on the recorded version, but the short synopsis is that Stanley and Zero came off the mountain, came off God's thumb. They went back to dig for the treasure, and they got caught.
Oh.
By the warden and Mr. Podansky and the whole crew.
When are we gonna have our next meeting?
Next week. Our next meeting will be next week.
Next week on what day?
Probably Wednesday again.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to read the next chapter is short. And I know we've been on here a long time. Thank you so much for paying attention and being with us. I'm going to read one chapter and find out what's happened because the other part, no, I'm going to let you listen to the other part of the book in the recorded version. The sun was up and Stanley's heart was still beating. There were 8 lizards in the hole with him. Each one had exactly 11 yellow spots. The warden had dark circles in her eyes from lack of sleep and lines across her forehead and face, which seemed exaggerated in the stark morning light. Her skin looked blotchy. Satan, said Zero. Stanley looked at him, unsure if Zero had even spoken or if he just imagined it. Why don't you go see if you can take the suitcase from Zero, the warden suggested. Yeah, right, said Mr. Sir. The lizards obviously aren't hungry, said the warden. Then you go get the suitcase, said Mr. Sir. They waited. Satan Lee, said Zero. Sometime later, Stanley saw a tarantula crawl across the dirt, not too far from his hole. He had never seen a tarantula before, but there was no doubt what it was. He was momentarily fascinated by it as its big, hairy body moved slowly and steadily along. Look, a tarantula, said Mr. Sir. also fascinated. "I've never seen one," said the warden, "except in..." Stanley suddenly felt a sharp sting on the side of his neck. The lizard hadn't bitten him, however. It was merely pushing off. It leapt off Stanley's neck and pounced on the tarantula. The last Stanley saw of it was one hairy leg sticking out of the lizard's mouth. "Not hungry, huh?" said Mr. Sir. Stanley tried to return to the snow, but it was harder to get there when the sun was up. As the sun rose, the lizards moved lower into the hole, keeping mainly in the shade. They were no longer on his head and shoulders, but had moved down to his stomach, legs, and feet. He couldn't see any lizards on Zero, but believed there were two, between Zero's knees, shaded from the sun by the suitcase. "How are you doing?" Stanley asked quietly. He didn't whisper, but his voice was dry and raspy. "My legs are numb," said Zero. "I'm going to try to climb out of the hole," Stanley said. As he tried to pull himself up using just his arms, he felt a claw dig into his ankle. He gently eased himself back down. "Is your last name your first name spelled backward?" Zero asked. Stanley stared at him in amazement. Had he been working on that all night? He heard the sound of approaching cars. Mr. Sir and the warden heard it as well. "You think it's them?" asked the warden. "It ain't Girl Scouts selling cookies," said Mr. Sir. He heard the cars come to a stop and the doors open and shut. A little while later, he saw Mr. Pendanski and two strangers coming across the lake. One was a tall man in a business suit and cowboy hat. The other was a short woman holding a briefcase. The woman had 3 steps for every 2 taken by the man. Stanley Yelnats," she called, moving out ahead of the others. "I suggest you don't come any closer," said Mr. Sir. "You can't stop me," she snapped, then took a second glance at him, wearing pajama pants and nothing else. "We'll get you out of there, Stanley," she said. "Don't you worry." She appeared to be Hispanic with straight black hair and dark eyes. She spoke with a little bit of a Mexican accent, trilling her R's. "What in tarnation?" the tall man exclaimed as he came up behind her. On him. "I'm telling you right now, if any harm comes to him, we will be filing charges not only against Mrs. Walker and Camp Green Lake, but the entire state of Texas as well. Child abuse, false imprisonment, torture." The man was more than a head taller than she and was able to look directly over her as he spoke to the warden. "How long have they been in there?" "All night. As you can see by the way we're dressed, they snuck into my cabin while I was asleep and stole my suitcase. I chased after them and they ran out here and fell into the lizard's nest. I don't know what they were thinking." "That's not true," Stanley said. "Stanley, as your attorney, I advise you not to say anything," said the woman, "until you and I have had a chance to talk in private." He wondered why the warden lied about the suitcase. He wondered who it legally belonged to. That was one thing he wanted to ask his lawyer, if she really was his lawyer. "It's a miracle they're still alive," said the tall man. "Yes, it is," the warden agreed, with just a trace of disappointment in her voice. "And they'd better come out of this alive," Stanley's lawyer warned. "This wouldn't have happened if you'd released him to me yesterday." "It wouldn't have happened if he wasn't a thief," said the warden. "I told him he would be set free today, and I guess he decided he'd try to take some of my valuables with him. He's been delirious for the last week." "Why didn't you release him when she came to you yesterday?" the tall man asked. She didn't have the proper authorization, said the warden. I had a court order. It was not authenticated, the warden said. Authenticated? It was signed by the judge who sentenced him. I needed authentication from the attorney general, said the warden. How do I know it's legitimate? The boys in my custody have proven themselves dangerous to society. Am I supposed to just turn them loose anytime someone hands me a piece of paper? Yes, said the woman, if it's a court order. Stanley has been hospitalized for the last few days, the warden explained. He's been suffering from hallucinations and delirium, ranting and raving. He was in no condition to leave. The fact that he was trying to steal from me on the day before his release proves. Stanley tried to climb out of his hole, using mostly his arms, so as not to disturb the lizards too much. As he pulled himself upwards, the lizards moved downward, keeping out of the sun's direct rays. He swung his legs up and over, and the last of the lizards hopped off. Thank God, exclaimed the warden. She started toward him, then stopped. A lizard crawled out of his pocket and down his leg. Stanley was overcome by a rush of dizziness and almost fell over. He steadied himself, then reached down, took hold of Zero's arm, and helped him slowly to his feet. Zero still held the suitcase. The lizards, which had been hiding under it, scurried quickly into the hole. Stanley and Zero staggered away. The warden rushed to them. She hugged Zero. Thank God you're alive, she said, as she tried to take the suitcase from him. He jerked it free. It belongs to Stanley, he said. Don't cause any more trouble, the warden warned. You stole it from my cabin, and you've been caught red-handed. If I press charges, Stanley might have to return to prison. Now, I'm willing, in view of all the circumstances, to... It's got his name on it, said Zero. Stanley's lawyer pushed past the tall man to have a look. See? Zero showed her. Stanley Yelnats. Stanley looked too. There, in big black letters, was Stanley Yelnats. The tall man looked over the heads of the others at the name on the suitcase. You say he stole it from your cabin? The warden stared at it in disbelief. That's it's impossible. She couldn't even say it.
Miss Honig, that's karma.
Now we are at the end.
That's the end?
Well, no, we're at the end of the chapter. We just have a tiny bit more to go. The treasure has been found, and Stanley Yelnatz's name is on the suitcase. So next time we will learn more about the book. I'll have another, for sure have a Kahoot to practice our geometry. And please check out the YouTube channel. I'm working on, there's already one reading lesson there for me and a read aloud book. And there's also, I'm working on another one for in a couple of weeks. So thank you all for joining me. I loved seeing your faces, and I appreciate it.
Miss Honig?
Yes?
I have a question on iReady, like that, because it's not working.